Hi everyone, it is me, Wendy Mooney Smith, owner of Mangados Muse and the Spiritual Soul Boutique here in Franklin, Pennsylvania. If you don't know me, I am a sound healer and a Reiki master and teacher and a yoga instructor, and I have a little shop here in town and I make my own incense and my own candles. So welcome. So before we get started, I want to talk to you guys first about thanking you for tuning in. For those of you who tuned in last week, you'll be receiving a link to my YouTube channel. And if you liked and commented, you will receive a free 20-minute sound bath on releasing fear. And that was our topic last week. And for this week, if you like and comment on my segment, you will register to win this free intention candle. Here it is for self-love, and you can see that there's rose quartz in there. There is also emerald in there, and rose petals, marjoram, not margarine, that is a spread, and lemongrass. So you will register to win this free 8-ounce self-love handcrafted intention candle. So if you like and comment on my segment, you will register for that. If you recommend me to somebody and they also like and comment, they will register and you will receive an additional registration. And then if you go to my YouTube channel and register or subscribe to my YouTube channel and like it, you will also register for a way to win. So I will announce the winner next Wednesday. There will be an incentive every week. So if you guys join me or watch my segment, then you too can win some of these great prizes and just a little something to say thank you. Thank you for your support and thank you for tuning in. So let's begin, shall we? Last week I came to you guys with my Wednesday with Wendy concept. Okay, last week was part 1. And on the return of Wednesdays with Wendy, I kind of gave a spiel like I used to do it. I used to talk about crystals and herbs and things of that nature, and I got away from it because honestly I was like, I don't know if I'm bringing much value and I'm really not connecting with people. So last week we talked about how I had an epiphany in May with my business group and how I self-sabotage. Side note, I heard from somebody that you guys thought I was upset. Let's be clear, I was not upset. I was just passionate about the topic and wanting to share this with you because I'm sure there's many of you out there who also self-sabotage. So I was passionate about my revelation and bringing this to you as something of value on this channel. Okay? So that I want to let you know that that is not what's going on. I'm just sharing something that I realized. And I realized that I have been self-sabotaging now literally for years and years and years. And honestly, I've probably been doing it in like past lives, right? If you subscribe to that, I've probably been doing this in past lives. So, I do it with my jobs, I do it with projects, I do it with relationships. I found that I'm even doing it here with my business. I have been doing it among other things. This self-revelation prompted a deep, deep period of introspection. It really did. And it was necessary. I was doing a lot of shadow work. And honestly, let's be clear, shadow work is ongoing. We're always moving through it. But I was asking myself why. And the most obvious screaming answer in my face was the first of many silent forces. The first was fear. Right, we talked about that last week. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of being seen. So we tackled this first concept as it really does lead to like many other reasons why we self-sabotage. Even today's topic about rejection is largely based in fear. And so how we concluded that we're going to face fear moving forward is that we're going to treat it like a switch. We're going to acknowledge the feeling and acknowledge that it's an indication that we are on the precipice of something great. That's right. We are on the precipice of something great. And instead of allowing it to control us, we're going to move forward on our path, on our journey to reach that something great. So today we are going to talk about the second silent force, which is rejection. As we talked about last week, self-sabotage isn't loud, it's subtle. It's the missed opportunities because we doubt our self-worth. It's procrastination on your dreams because if we are successful, then what next? Then what next? If we are actually successful, then what next? And then there's rejection. That's also why we self-sabotage. What if our dreams were not accepted, we're rejected? The fear of it makes us shrink. We water ourselves down to avoid being too loud, too much, too different. And we actually change who we are authentically, just to be accepted by a particular group or community. How many times do we do this? How many times do we water down who we are? Maybe talk a little bit less, maybe be a little bit less, just to feel like we fit in. But I need you to know that rejection is not a self-reflection of your values. It's just a signpost. It's just an indication that saying, maybe this isn't your path, but keep walking. You are going to figure this out. So I like to start with a definition of what rejection is. Rejection, by definition, is the act of being dismissed, refused, or not accepted by a person, a group, an opportunity, or a situation. Emotionally, it often triggers feelings of inadequacy, unworthiness, or abandonment. This is the definition, okay? That's why I'm kind of reading this. Especially when it touches wounds related to our sense of self-worth or belonging. I'm sure just the basic definition of rejection, we get it. We connect with that basic definition. And to give you guys some examples of rejection, many of you know I absolutely love to teach. Outside of, you guys know the story about me starting this business, some of you, and I wasn't necessarily well received. That aside, I want to talk about how I love to teach. I love to learn things and share that knowledge. I'm like a kid, or someone who gives a gift. I cannot wait to give a gift. If I have something for you and it's for Christmas, you're getting it way before Christmas. I absolutely love to give gifts. Love it, love it, love it. So I love to teach. And so I signed up for to be an instructor. I wanted to be an instructor with this program and I didn't receive it. And initially I was like, okay, you know what? I'm fine with it. The story that we tell ourselves, I was fine with it. Okay, I'm all right. And honestly, it was very triggering for me. I didn't want it to be. I wanted to believe I was more evolved than that and then I could just let it go. But it honestly brought back emotions of when I was in corporate medicine. And when I worked my corporate job and when I was in sales and stuff. And it's my own. I mean, we set these expectations. And during that time, I never felt as though I belonged in that industry. I really didn't. It was like this land of beautiful people. And I'm like, I don't belong in that industry. And I had a boss who kind of fed into that. I didn't fit their mold. I didn't look a certain way. I didn't carry myself a certain way. I wasn't this like beautiful, shining, whatever that they expected me to be. Even though how I did things, honestly, truthfully, working with the client, I still got done what needed to be done and overachieved. But it was just like and then I started to self-sabotage because I couldn't fit into this mold that they wanted me to fit into, this image of who they wanted me to be. I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, you definitely were self-sabotaging then. You were like, I've had enough. I am not going to be this person, right? I couldn't fit into it, but there was a lot of emotion with that. It was hard. It was definitely hard. It was like banging my head against the wall. And the next thing I know, I'm self-sabotaging. I'm like, oh, okay. Again, hindsight 2020. So I remember just that example. And I thought about, as I'm reflecting on all of the ways I do this, about Carl Jung. Okay, I love psychology. I remember in school, and I always remembered Carl Jung and his concepts on acceptance and security, and it's a basic foundation for humans, okay? And he explored the deep psychological need for security and acceptance throughout his work. And essentially, he breaks it down into 3 things that we need. Okay, security as a psychological wholeness and individuation. And he believed that true security doesn't come from external forces. All right, it has to come from within. So not money, not relationships, not approval, but from inner integration of all parts of the self. And this process is called individuation, which means becoming whole by facing the unconscious, integrating your shadow work. Like if you guys come to this shop here in the studio and we have lectures and we do meditations, we talk about shadow work all the time. And so it's an integration of that and aligning with true self. And he says there's no coming to consciousness without pain, because when you face your shadow self, there's pain with that in identifying who you really are. So in this way, this search for security is really a search for internal stability and not external guarantees. So that's number 1 of Carl Jung's theory. Number 2 is acceptance of persona. And what he means by acceptance of persona is that we all wear this persona, we all wear this mask to gain approval and acceptance. And it helps us function in society, but it leads us to over-identifying, to fitting into these groups, right? So we create these masks that we have to wear in order to fit in, and that can cause anxiety. And because of this fear of rejection, the real self we hide. And I think about Halloween and how adults absolutely love Halloween. We love it. I love Halloween. I love dressing up, you know, and I think about how we like to dress up scandalously, right, ladies? Like my persona is Carmen, and I want to wear something sexy that I would not ever wear any other time. But on Halloween, it's accepted and it's okay. And we're able to put on a mask to take off our persona mask. I love that for us. We need to be able to do that more. And Carl Jung makes the statement that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That's what we're all striving for, is to become who we truly are. He believed that our deep need for acceptance often leads us to suppress the authentic part of ourselves, and that true freedom comes from when we accept all aspects of ourselves, including the rejected, shadowy, icky parts that we don't want to show people, and no longer rely solely on external validation. We don't need that from people, right? And then finally, the third part is rejection in the shadow. Jung said that when we reject ourselves, it becomes our shadow, the unconscious part of our psyche. When we fear rejection from other people, we often then project that inside ourselves, continuing this cycle of self-sabotage and emotional fragmentation. So like our rejection, when we fear rejection, even though we might not be rejected in this group, it's like you're waiting for it, the other shoe to drop, you're internalizing that, and then you're rejecting yourself. So the only way that we can heal through this is when we stop rejecting ourselves. And honestly, we enter into relationships. I talked to you guys last week about this book, Conversations with God. I highly recommend this. I wanted to show you because I forgot it last week. This is a great book, and it actually addresses why we enter into relationships and why relationships fail. It's because there's a void within us that we expect somebody else to fill, and they have a void that they expect us to fill. And so there's this expectation of this trade-off of you're filling my void and I'm filling yours. And in all honesty, we shouldn't even be entering into relationships until we can love ourselves. So cliche, I know it, self-love candle, I get it, but we have to love ourselves and understand who we are, and then that person enlightens who you want to be, who you authentically want to be, and that is how we enter into a relationship that is of value. I hope this resonates with you guys. So in summary, 3 things that Carl Jung said that we need. Security comes from self-awareness and inner wholeness, not external control. All right? We don't need money. It's not validation from other people. You have to look in. 2, acceptance begins within, and we must integrate, not hide our shadow. Integrate not hide your shadow. And finally, the fear of rejection can only be healed by radical self-acceptance and authenticity. So, on a spiritual level, because that's where I come in, let's look at rejection in that it is not always a punishment. It can be a protection. It can be redirection. It can be a spiritual detour guiding you back to your path. Let's look at it a little bit differently, because here is the truth, guys. You cannot avoid rejection and expect to grow. And you cannot self-sabotage and expect to bloom. You can't. You are not here to dim your light. And I talk to you, so many of you, all the time about dimming your light for other people. Stop dimming your light. We talked about it last week. You are not here to dim your light to make others comfortable. Don't make yourself uncomfortable. Don't dim your light to make yourself uncomfortable just to make others comfortable. You are here to shine brightly, so very brightly, that those who are still trapped in their own darkness are going to see the fire within you and then be inspired by your bright light. Encourage them, right? We're supposed to be lifting each other up. Let's do that by loving ourselves authentically. So stop feeding the voice that tells you you're not enough. And when rejection comes, thank it and keep rising. Because you are more powerful than what you think. You have the ability to overcome this. So that is all I have to say today. Next week, we will roll into part 3 of self-sabotage and discuss avoidance of responsibility, which is perfect because if you guys follow astrology, Saturn just moved into Aries, and so ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. You guys are going to be held responsible for your actions. We're going to have to look inward and see how we are responsible towards how we make other people think. And that is not about acceptance, that is about responsibility and reflection. Okay, so that's next week's topic. Next week's sound bath will be on today's topic about rejection. We still have time to sign up for today's sound bath at 6 o'clock, and that is going to be about releasing fear and transmitting that fear into something great. So you can go to my website, mongoddessmuse.com, to sign up, or you could just message me if you're not sure how to do that and show up. But please let me know, because I do need to set up for the event depending on how many people come. So with that, I will see you guys hopefully here next Wednesday. Please, please, please tune into this. I think there's some great information here that I'm extracting from my readings and my research. And I know that we all feel these feelings. And it's about being brave and admitting to ourselves that we can overcome all of this. But we have to do it together. So until then, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be secure. And may you ride the wave of life with ease. Love you guys. Thanks again for your support and tuning in. Bye.